This is an exciting next chapter in our skating. We are going to talk about turns. This is going to be the first time we're going to link together our forward skating and our backward skating. So remember to give yourself a pat on the back. A couple fundamentals that will help us with turning is thinking about our solid skating foundation again. So we're going to have a weight transfer. We're going to think about our edge control. And as always, our alignment and our balance. So first we're going to talk about where we turn on our blade, and let's go to the wall and practice a few standstills. For forward turns, we're going to turn on the ball of our feet. So let's think about turning on the front of our blade first. So before we start turns, we're going to have one arm in front, one arm in back. That's our alignment, and we're standing tall. Everything is stacked, so head over the hips, which are over the feet. We're going to try to bend first, and there is a little bit of shoulder against the hip action. So think of your side as a towel. We're going to twist the towel, twist the obliques like you're wringing out a really wet towel. So feel like you're activated here. Bend, rise to the front of your skate, and then turn. So when you bend and rise, you rock to the front of the skate. You're going to be lighter on your blades. Your heels are going to be lifted, and that's going to help you turn. Even though I'm talking about shoulders pressing into the circle a little bit, there's a little bit of tension there. It's not going to be your upper body that's muscling the turn. It's going to be mostly your core and your hips turning. So think about just a little bit of pressure into the circle. So I'm going from here, slight pressure, front arm goes in the circle, back arm goes back, and then a slight turn. So with these turns, let's start with a 2-foot turn. Principles are the same. I'm going to glide forward, outside edge, inside edge, slight lean of the lower body. Chest is turned to face the circle. Head is also facing slightly inside the circle. I find that really helpful for a lot of my skaters. Hugging the circle, so I'm twisting the towel. My side is a towel. It's like I'm wringing the towel. Slight twist, shoulder against the hip actions. Bend. Now rise to turn. So after I glide backwards on 2 feet, I'm also looking behind towards the direction of travel. Inside edge, outside edge. And I'm more in the front of the blade. So there is a moment of resettling by bend, rise to the front of my blade to turn, ball the feet, and I glide backwards slightly in back of where I turned. Try for an even rhythm. 1, 2, 3, turn. 4, 5, 6, head is checked. So in my brain, I have a system. I go through all the check marks. So lean and glide. So head is forward, upper body is twisted in. Now hips and core come around and check. Head doesn't really move. Slightly inside the circle. It's still going to look behind. And again, our goal, equal glide, going in and out, keeping the flow up, trying not to slow down. Common error I see is, I call it the J turn. Then you end up like this, and you're not aggressive enough turning your hips, and you end up more, instead of getting a 3, because these are called 3 turns. When you turn, you make a 3 on the ice. That you end up here and making this J. So when you don't use your core and your hips enough to turn, when you don't have enough rock of your blade, you end up getting stuck and making this J. So remember, if you are making the J turn, bend and rise a bit more, and you should be able to get a solid 3 turn. So now let's do these on 1 foot. So I like to break this up and think about it. Instead of a 3 turn, which is a little intimidating, think about a front edge and a back edge and a transition in the middle. Outsides are a little easier. So start open stroke, outside edge. Make sure you're level first before we do anything at all. So my checkpoints, I'm turned into the circle. I'm starting to twist a little bit. I'm going to start to bend and rock up to the front of my blade, and my hips are beneath my shoulders. So if you're here, here's a checkpoint to get you aligned. To break this up, I would turn on 2 feet, and now find your back inside edge. Again, find that alignment, Find that subtle bend to find that stability. So that's my little trick for 3 turns. We'll put it together now. Glide, bend and rise, check. So I'm looking slightly inside my circle. Press, bend and rise, press. So that's one pattern you can practice 3 turns on, is the larger circle. It is often helpful to have a friend or a coach hold on to you. You can also use this line here. And my goal is to turn when I'm at the peak of my lobe. Let's start with forward outside 3 turns. So the name of the 3 turn refers to your starting edge. This will be a left forward outside 3 turn because I'm starting on my left foot, starting on an outside edge and ending with a back inside edge. So what a 3 turn is, on one foot, the definition, we're gonna be on the same circle. We change directions from front to back. We just flip directions from forward to backwards. Let's do a few on our right forward inside edge. So now, right forward inside edge, bend and rise, right back outside edge. So right forward inside, push, bend, rise. Now left forward inside edge, left forward inside, left back outside. There are a couple different free lie variations you can do. Open stroke always, turn toe to heel. You can extend back, get the hip behind. That can also help with dropping the hip. A common error is dropping your hip. If you stretch back, that can help lift the hip and get you out. This is a little bit of a harder variation, keeping everything extended. So try a couple different ways. Toe to heel is easiest. You can stay toe to heel as long as your hips are level. But I do find that stretching back helps with the exit edge. So when I'm at the top of my circle, when I'm parallel to my axis, which is this red line here, so edge, 2 foot turn, edge. Try that on 1 foot. So I start off with my feet like this, like a V, bend to push, rise to turn, and then check. I'm gonna make this a little bigger. So push, bend and rise, check. A couple of free leg positions you can do. Feet under the hips is probably the easiest because of the alignment. I do have skaters and I do like to teach the extension afterwards. I do think that is helpful to keep that hip behind and pull your foot away, and then you can follow where you're going. So if we break that up, open stroke, 2 foot turn, lift and extend. You can put that all together. So I'm pushing off like a V, bend, press, press away, check out. As far as timing is very important. 3 count going in, 3 count going out. We'll start with that. So push 1, 2, 3, turn 4, 5, 6. We can slow down the count a little bit more if we'd like, as long as it's even timing, even flow on the entrance and exit edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, turn 5, 6, 7, 8. So practice on both sides. One side's often going to be easier than the other, but other key points to think about. My hips are level when I turn, so I turn. They always stay level. Here, square the turn, level the hips, check the head. Shoulders, hips, head, core, very important during 3 turns. I also want to recap a few important concepts about turns. We need enough momentum to go into and out of the turn. So make sure you bend and push into the turn. That way you're able to flow out of the turn. If you do not have speed going in the turn, you're gonna get stuck or you're gonna turn and fall. So make sure you have some flow to get in and out of the turn. There is a weight transfer. So when you push, transfer your weight to 1 foot. You're gonna keep that foot still over your skating foot the whole time. If your weight is not over the skating foot, that could cause you to fall off of your edge. There's also the concept of edge control. If you're turning properly, you're going to get a nice 3. You wanna avoid any subcurves or any wiggling. So we have proper rock of the blade. Start with the back of the blade, rock up to the front of the blade, and resettle you should have a smooth edge. If there's a lot of wiggling back and forth, it probably means that you're rocking back and forth too much or losing that levelness of the shoulders and hips. So try to stack, turn, and keep that stack right away. The last concept is body position. So again, we have our Jenga blocks, and head over the shoulders, over the hips, over the feet. Anytime you turn and you break at the waist before the turn or after the turn, that will make you lose speed and control of your 3 turn. So we talked about our exercise for 3 turns, doing an edge, then turn on 2 feet, then doing an edge and slowly taking that 2-foot turn away. We also talked about trying these turns on a straighter line. Lastly, here's my little toe pick exercise. So I can do my forward 3 turn, for example, and try to turn and just use my toe pick to kind of balance myself a little bit more and feel the turn. So that's a good way to get comfortable, especially for backwards here. Get comfortable to feel the part of the blade that you can turn on here, and then you turn. So for forwards, have your toe pick in a little bit. You can turn